In today's video, I finally get to get outside my house in a little while and do some rail fanning on the board. It's about time my ride gets here. We depart Birchwood at around 9 a.m. sharp to head east for Ladysmith, but first we gotta stop somewhere to check a signal. No, not that signal, the one in Exland. Since both the north and southbound signals were showing darkness, we head further down the Ladysmith since we knew it'd be a little while until a train shows up. After waiting for 2.5 hours and seeing no train in Ladysmith, we went down to Sheldon to an old crossing that hasn't been around for like 10 years. And after about a 15-minute wait, here comes Northbound with CN 3400 and a BC Rail-9 trailing second. That was pretty cool to see a BC Rail on there. But when I looked at Wapaka when I got up, it was still nighttime when it went by there, and it looked like a -8 was leading, like a C40-8 or whatever. But yeah, still decently cool to see a BC Rail. Second one I've seen.
CN detector, mile 342.3. Northbound, no defects. Temperature 79 F. Total axles 496. Speed 56. Detector out.
About a minute later, the signal turns to flashing red. We have another northbound trailing. About 5 minutes later, here comes the hot Q train, coming in at 55 miles an hour, according to the defect detector at milepost 342.3.
Northbound, no defects. Temperature 79F. Total axles 420. Speed 55. Detector out.
Well, that's going to be it for me at Sheldon. Let's see if we can go somewhere like Ladysmith or Conrath or something to get another train. After those two trains went by Sheldon, it would be about 4 hours until another train showed up. So I went up to Stone Lake at milepost 389.05 at the south end of the yard. The signal is showing advance approach for a meet at Bigfoot siding. Northbound will be taking the siding, southbound will be on Main. After about a 30-minute wait, here comes southbound L564 from Pokegama Yard in Superior, Wisconsin to Stevens Point, Wisconsin. Be about 10 minutes until the next southbound showed up. And here's a Southbound Manifest led by a trio of CN SD70M-2s. After leaving Stone Lake, we went down the South Bigfoot or Howard, Wisconsin at milepost 383.7 to maybe catch a train meet, which, in fact, we do have a train meet. The northbound's going to be taking the siding and wait for a southbound. It wasn't long until CN 3275 came into view at South Bigfoot with an intermodal. It also had an SD70A DPU with 8101. It wasn't long until CN 3865 had the clearance to proceed south with a loaded potash train and double DPUs.
CN detector, mile 383.7. Southbound, no defects. Temperature 68F. Total axles 624. Speed 16. Detector out.
After that went by, it was time to end the day of railfanning and head back home.
There was a day when it looked like the rails would die away. Other machines would go farther and faster, and the steamer trains were headed for disaster. But men with steel